thanks IFCS for having me. Like they've said, my name is Mrs. Gbemisola. So now I'll be speaking on finding and securing jobs in the UK, graduate roles in the UK, as I've been told, transferable skills, you know, for getting a job in the UK, and then also providing some guidance on work permits, tier 2 visa. I believe most of us would like to, maybe were people that require visa sponsorship. So I'll talk a bit about that and a little on CV and work permits. So we're all Christians. I love talking to Christians because I feel like I'm very free to share the whole picture. Because I mean, when you're talking to a wide range of audience, then you have to talk from a higher level. But I mean, I can be very, very free and open, especially sharing the faith-based perspective. So I'll just go through my journey for like 15 minutes, and I would also share some advice along the way. But it will be more of advice and exciting examples for my journey. So I would say start with God and start early. For me, immediately I came into the UK, like I did my undergraduate in Nigeria and I did my master's for 1 year in the UK. And after which I got an internship with Procter & Gamble. I did it for 4 months, research and development internship, and then I moved on to Accenture for a proper graduate job. So immediately I got into the UK, like I was very proactive, and I would say that it's very, very important. I was able to talk to some people who had gone through the journey ahead of me. And about 1 month into me coming for my master's, I was already working on my CV. So, and the reason why that is very important is because most times the graduate recruitment usually happens about a year. They start the recruitment process about a year in advance. So if you're trying to get a job in September next year, you need to be applying actively now because they usually give a lot of time. So if you're starting in July or August, it's already close to when a lot of companies have made their decisions already. So the first thing I would say is make sure you start early. I know some of us are in our final year, we're almost finishing and all of that, but you can still start if you haven't started. So it's very important for you to start early and just be very deliberate about it. Now, volunteering is a big thing in the UK. It's always good to get some kind of UK work experience on your CV, beyond, what you might have done in other countries. I guess most of us have actually been in the educational system in the UK for a while. So I guess it's very, you will find it easy to find, volunteering roles that you can do, or, things that you can, add to your CV as work experience, even if it's just you're not getting paid for it. It's always good to have such experience, right? I know it's COVID times, but I'm guessing that there'll be things online that one can do. I would say careers fair and university career network. So I want to believe that your university has a careers network, like a particular department in the university that is dedicated to helping students get jobs. It's very important to stay close to such networks, especially at a time like this. Things have changed due to COVID, so I'm going to be speaking majorly from my experience, which was about 3 years ago. So it's very important for you to be connected to the University Careers Network. Find out from them what sort of activities they had. Those are the things that helped me to be ready on time. I'd gone for sessions with them where they taught me how to write my CV, how to get my LinkedIn profile ready and all of that. And then there are also specific places that you can search for jobs. There is Indeed, there's Target Jobs, there is Sanctuary Grads. There are so many job set networks that you can use. Again, make sure that you are in touch with your university career network because they'll be able to tell you a lot about those things. Those are 3 examples. And be deliberate and intentional. Don't be lazy about getting a job in the UK. It's not very easy, I must say. I'm just being very honest. So you wouldn't expect that, people will just know that you're good. You're just going to sit in the comfort of your room and they would know that, this person is very good and they're going to start. No, it's a very, very deliberate and intentional effort trying to get a job in the UK. You need to research, understand what kind of jobs you want, and also be open. When I was applying for jobs in the UK, I was actually very keen on mechanical engineering roles, because I had done a degree in mechanical engineering, but I had friends around me who were very who advised me to be very open. So I would say that I know you've studied several things. People here have done electrical engineering. You've done different degrees, but just be open. Be open to exploring a PhD. Don't box yourself. Most times we think that we know what we want, but sometimes it's just because we've not been exposed to other things. So, and with everything that has happened with COVID, we know that a lot of jobs have gone out of markets. A lot of new jobs are going to be coming up. So don't feel like, oh, because I studied this degree, that is what I must do, or that's what I'm bound to do. Most times, a lot of graduate roles, they want to actually see. There are some companies like Accenture that they're very keen to just know that you can transfer your skills and work with them, even if you've not done a degree that is suitable. So for example, in Accenture, what we do mainly is technology. And what they will tell you if you're applying to Accenture is they want you to demonstrate a passion for technology. So we have people from all kinds of degrees working in tech, hotel management, law, doctors, arts, people, English, history, whatever degree, as long as you're interested in learning on the job, they're open to hire you. So I'm sure there are companies like that that are very like, especially because like I said, COVID has happened and there are a lot more tech jobs these days. That's what I see. I'm speaking from my personal experience. I might not be right. I know that there are lots of opportunities in healthcare and all of these industries too. But whatever kind of, just make sure that you are open and you're really looking at the jobs that are in demand. And then I would say networking too is very important. I'm sure you must have heard that a couple of times. We call it something else in Nigeria, talking about having connections. But in the UK, it's very important. Some jobs that you get in the UK is just purely based on networking. And what do I mean by networking? I know it's COVID days. Before we would go for physical career fairs and, you have opportunities to talk to different companies, see what they have to offer, and then pitch yourself, sell yourself and all of that. But now, I guess now that it's all online, you need to connect with companies online. So, but the thing is, networking, having a community of friends, good people that you guys are going in the same direction. See, this thing is so important because, and it starts from things like this. I love what you guys are doing, having a fellowship of Christians, working together. See, if you're with bad energy, like you're not going to get what you want. Like I'm just being very practical. If you're surrounding yourself with people who have this mindset that, oh, I can't get a job in the UK, it's very difficult, this nonsense people, if they have all those kind of mindsets, they're going to limit you. I tell you, you need to, if you're interested in getting something, surround yourself with people who have gotten it or people who are also aspiring to get it. So it's very important that I talked about networking, having friends, and it's also very important that you let people around you know what you're interested in. Because the reason I say this is because you never know where your help can come from. See, there are different ways to get a job. Some people get jobs just based on referral. They just see that this girl is very hardworking. You don't even know they've been watching you, and they just tell you that. And then your lecturer, maybe she's been hearing that you're very good. She sees you, she sees all the things that you're doing and all of that. And one day, someone in the industry calls her and says that, oh, we need a particular person that can. Your name will come to her mind because she knows what your aspirations are. She knows the kind of person you are. You've been working alongside them. This is how you build this kind of relationships. Let people around you know what you're interested in. Let them know. You never know where your help can come from. So I talked about the fact that I had an internship at Procter & Gamble. They reached out to me on LinkedIn. That was how I got the job. I didn't know anyone in P&G. I didn't know anybody. They reached out to me. They said, and this is what I talked about, being proactive and having things set. Everyone here should have, your LinkedIn profile should be on point. If you can dedicate one day to just work on that LinkedIn. See, I won't lie to you, even with this COVID era, there's so many jobs. There's so many jobs. I get messages on LinkedIn every now and then, all kinds of jobs. People will tell you, oh, there are no jobs and everything. And sometimes I think about it, people that I know that are very qualified for these jobs, I look at their LinkedIn profile. They don't have anything there about what they do. They'll probably just put a line of, oh, I graduated from this, I'm doing this. You list up, see how you do your LinkedIn profile. I mean, I've taken out my graduate LinkedIn profile. It's very different from what I have now. But for everything that you've done, and I'll kind of link this to transferable skills. For everything that you've done, you're doing a volunteer role, whatever it is that you're doing, highlight the skills that you're getting from those roles. Put it. I'm currently the leader of IFCS Fellowship. I lead a group of 20 plus, people across different diversity. I am very adaptable, I'm very culturally aware, I have the ability to work with people from different countries. You talk about these things, put tangibility. I organized the webinar, to share knowledge, across people from different, put those numbers, and the webinar got, very good feedback. See, let me tell you, the way you structure your LinkedIn profile is very similar to your CV as well. You put all your experiences, highlight the skills that you've gotten from those experiences. So extracurricular experiences like this will give you leadership skills. Highlight them on your profile. I gained leadership skills while I was working on so and so. I organized these events. There's something they call, I think it's the car. You give a context, give the actions that you took, and tell the results. You can follow that pattern anytime you're talking about yourself. I organized this. These were the things that I did, and this was the results. So even when you're talking about jobs, I worked in this company. There was a problem. I increased the efficiency. I was able to organize blah 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 blah, and the result was higher efficiency in the job. There's so many things to cover. I'm just trying to go on a high level on everything, so that if you guys have specific questions, I can go in depth. But that's kind of how to structure your CV, your LinkedIn profile. Every job, put like 3 bullet points and talk about what you did, what skills you gained, and what the results were. So everyone here, your LinkedIn profile should be on point. It should be ready. Your LinkedIn profile should always, like I said, I got P&G job from LinkedIn. I don't know what they search for on LinkedIn, but I had so many buzzwords: communication, teamwork. I had all kinds of buzzwords on my profile. So when recruiters are searching for those things, my profile will come up at the top. It's search engine optimization. If you guys know what this is about, it's just like Google. What you said, people that have all those buzzwords, their profile will come up at the top. So it's very important, and be active on LinkedIn as well. So that's one way. I talked about networking, which is letting people know some jobs just come by referral. Someone just says, "Oh, I know someone that can do the job," and they give you an opportunity to get into that kind of discussion. So there's also that part of, let everyone know, don't be silent. You never know where help will come from. Be persistent, don't give up. Like I said, it's quite hard. I basically applied for a job. People do it for the whole year throughout your masters. I know you have dissertation, I know you have things going on, but if you're very keen about getting a job, try to make out time for it. And let me just encourage you that it's for a season as well. It's not like you're going to have to do it for life, because it can be very discouraging. I got so many rejections. It's just very important for you to know that. So many rejections. Some jobs I would apply for it today, the next day they're sending me the rejection list. I'm like, did you guys even check my application? Like, come on, at least even give me some time. Let me be convinced that you even had a look at what I dropped. So it happens. But don't give up. Don't give up. I know people that do it throughout the whole year, but they'll get a job at the end. I'll talk more about, even if you don't get a job. Now, more things about your application, your CV. There's so many resources online that can teach you about how to write a CV. I've kind of given a highlight of what you can do as far as CV is concerned. Now, let me just quickly move to transferable skills. I already touched on it. Even when you're applying for a job that you feel you're not qualified for, most graduate jobs, what they want to see is those soft skills, those things that are beyond your technical skills. Particularly in the British culture, I see that they're very keen to know if they can work with you. So sometimes you'll be surprised that you're very good, but they won't call you, because there's something about interacting with people. There's something about your soft skills, how you can work. There's no value in you being a loner if you can only work by yourself. They just tell you what to do. You just do it and deliver. You can't survive in the workplace like that. And again, I must tell you that the workplace might not necessarily be for everyone. You need to be aware of that. Some people should be lecturers. Some people should be researchers. Some people should just, it's not for everyone. But if you know it's something you want to do, because we're talking about job search today, be aware that soft skills are really, really needed in the workplace. Soft skills like communication, critical thinking, teamwork, ability to learn. See, I think you should put it on your CV. Learning aptitude, that's what it's called. It's so important. These days, a lot of companies are having to re-strategize. A lot of companies are having to rebrand. So you don't want to just say, oh, I'm a graduate of this, that's all I can do. No, tell them I can learn. I can learn data science even if I come in as a health professional, because trust me, as a child of God, see, my best scripture is I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. See, I don't think there's any job I can't do, because we are not working alone. you're not alone as a child of God. You have the power of God working on the inside of you. You can tap into it. All those things I'm saying, these are exactly the same things that everyone in the world will do. And don't forget, success is for everyone if you follow the right principles. But you as a Christian, you follow all the right principles, you now have the Holy Spirit working on the inside of you. Oh my God. As in, it's just a very perfect combination. So it's very important for you to know that, you know, a lot of my confidence, you have to demonstrate confidence a lot in the UK. A lot of my confidence comes from that scripture. When I'm talking and I'm saying, oh, I can do this, my scripture is actually, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. That's what is going on in my mind. It's not really because I think I'm so, yes, I mean, hard work is very important. That's why I talked about it at the beginning. Don't be lazy. Don't have a mindset of laziness, or you just want a job that will just pay you and you won't do anything. That's not going to work. They can tell from your body language. They can tell from your body language if you're really interested in this job. So yeah, your words are a very small percent of interviews and all of these things. When they see your CV, your cover letter, your LinkedIn profile, and they give you an opportunity to talk to them, they are looking at your body language. They are looking at your thinking. They are looking at how you approach things. There's something they call behavioral based interviews where they ask you questions like, and this is talking about transferable skills as well. They can ask you questions like, tell us about time when you faced a difficult situation. How did you handle it? Those are things that you can't get from your degree. You get it from extracurricular activities like this. That's why I was talking about the fact that do volunteer roles. Don't just do school. I don't advise people to just do school. I don't advise people to just go to school and that's it. No, be involved in other things. Do things that you're passionate about. Form a group, start a society, or join one if you don't want to start one. Get involved. You're building your skills. You're not working for the leader. You're working for yourself. You're helping yourself. Um, yeah, I kind of just went over everything because I mean the time is a bit limited. But finally, let me talk about work permits, and we'll go to the questions so that I can go more detailed into anything that you guys would like to hear about. Work permits. Now, there are some companies that, so I guess that's referring to tier 2 visa. People always have this dilemma: should I tell them upfront that I require a visa or should I not, and all of that. I personally don't believe in putting it on your CV, but what I noticed is that a lot of graduate jobs will actually ask upfront if you require a visa. So it's always good to, if they ask you, obviously you can't lie, you have to tell them that you require a tier 2 visa. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware, but there's a list of there's a document on Google, you can just Google it, list of tier 2 visa sponsors, and check it online. There's one on the gov.uk website. I have the link, I can send it to you guys if you don't have it. It shows a list of all companies that can sponsor your visa. So it's always very important when you're checking for jobs to check those companies, check on the documents if they do sponsor visa, so they don't waste your time. But another thing is, again, I'm talking to Christians, there's an element of favor. I know people who the companies could not sponsor visa, but because the people that applied for the jobs have demonstrated so much excellence, so much passion, and the companies like them, they actually got licenses to sponsor visa. So again, God's favor it can really come through, but you have to do your own part. I believe very strongly in working very hard as though you don't have God. And when it comes to praying, you pray very hard too, as though you're not going to do anything else. That's my principle. When I get to my time with God, I don't joke with it. And when it comes to hard work, I don't joke with it at all. So it's very important for us not to be lazy. Check the documents ahead to know companies that can sponsor visa. Once you are very good and you're in demand, they see the value that you can bring to the company, they would consider it. And of course, you have God's favor as well. So my final words, I also just want to encourage us. Not getting a job in the UK is not the end of the world. Your destiny as a child of God is not tied to any location. You can succeed anywhere you are. So, but you have to make sure that you've done everything that you can. That's one thing that gives me confidence when things don't work out for me. Like, I know that I did everything in my capacity and it didn't work out. Then I accept it as God's will. It's not big. I tell you, don't feel like, oh, I've come to the UK, my parents have spent so much money, I must get a job by force by fire. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't mean God doesn't love you. It might just be that God has other plans for you, but make sure that you've done your own part. I hate having regrets, and I would make sure that you've done your part. You've done your job interview, you've done everything. And if you don't get it at the end of the day, just accept that it's the will of God and God has bigger plans. Don't forget, God loves you. He wants the best for you. He has great plans for you. Spend time communing with the Father to dig out his plans for you. I am somebody that believes very much in God coming through for me. Most of my very significant um, times I've really, really experienced God has been in my work. Sometimes I can literally, in during my interviews, I can really tell that I'm being assisted by God. Like God just grants me unusual favor, but I've done my own part. So it's very important for you to know that there's supernatural help available for you as a child of God if you're open to receiving that. Yeah. I'll stop there for now. That's really it. Apologies, I eventually spent 20 minutes. But
No, that's fine.
I'll leave it open for questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Gbemisola. I really appreciate that, and thanks for that overview. That nuggets that I've been writing. So I did ask everybody to bring their pen and paper, so they didn't write. Good luck. I was taking my own notes down. Before I put it to the audience, and thanks for that. It was really, really, really insightful, really helpful, and touched on a wide range of things that I did say you're going to touch on. I just wanted us to be just introduce, I think, some consciousness in the fact that within the audience, we've got people who have graduated and they're at the stage of looking for jobs. So perhaps, volunteering right now may or may not be the way forward. It's a case of like, okay, I need a sponsor. And then there are those who are studying, who perhaps can now take on the advice you've put forward of not waiting until dissertation time to start applying earlier. And then, there are those who perhaps can, look for that internship, volunteer, and learn. But I think, regardless of where you are, the things about the LinkedIn profile being on point, CVs, so that having been said, now, if you may, I'd like to spend, before we take questions, 5 minutes to talk about specific things that you mentioned, that, the working place may not be for everyone. Okay. And this is perhaps even for, even if they've graduated to, so some are going to research and, whatever. Now, and they also said that,
Business. Yeah.
sorry?
Go on. Even business.
Or,
Yeah.
or business, yes.
Yeah.
And then you also say that just because you studied something doesn't mean you necessarily have to go into that. That you've got to also look at jobs that are in demand. And I thought that was interesting because a lot of people just I did this, so I'm most likely to get a job in this. Now, how does one know what job is in demand? How does one know if actually I'm working is not for me, but what are the options? Or business is for me. Like, how do I do it? I'm still in this country. And then for those who perhaps are still studying and have opportunities to get volunteering jobs or other jobs, those transferable skills that you mentioned, learning aptitude, critical thinking. I think that obviously some of these jobs that students are accessible, have access to, are not necessarily professional jobs. But however, like you mentioned, they're not necessarily looking at those professional skills. They're looking at those soft skills. And I think that things like teamwork, communication, ability to prioritize your workload, leadership skills, adaptability can be gotten from pretty much any role whatsoever, really. Even if it's delivering newspapers, there's a way you can, find out what skills, even if it's prioritizing or time management, and can bring that in. So I just wondered if you wouldn't mind spending 5 minutes really just talking about those who if working is not for as I said, not for everyone, how to know, and then perhaps how to find jobs that are in demand, and also how one can really leverage opportunities, and thanks for those what you mentioned, those areas indeed target jobs, university career network. But if you don't mind, 5 minutes on that, and then we can take questions, please. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that. Like I said, it's very important that whatever decision you're making, you're not coming from a standpoint of laziness. I'm sorry, but I'm always very direct when it comes to issues like this. You can't be lazy. You can't have a mindset of whatever career path you choose is not because because I don't want to just say, oh, look at what you like and that's what you're interested in. Some people would claim that they don't like some things just because they are not willing to apply themselves. You're not willing to stretch yourself. You're not willing to move beyond your comfort zone. So number one, you mentioned about, how can you, you talked about what kind of skill. Okay, so I'll answer it in different segments. You first, the one I'll take is, how would you know what area you're interested in? Most times the way to really know is actually to try, that most times you just have to try, and that's the reason why they have schemes like placements. Some people, actually, I know people that do placement here, and that just gives them an understanding that, man, the workplace is surely not for me. And after they graduate, if they don't require a visa, they just start a business. So definitely you need to try these things. You need to also speak to people that are into this kind of jobs, but be open. Don't feel like, because whatever it is that you decide to do, you still need to, it's going to push you, it's going to stretch you, it's going to push you. I'm not just going to say passion and all of these things, but the truth is, sometimes you look at things that okay, so there's the side of looking at opportunities that are available too, which I talked about earlier. Now look at it. Sometimes it might not even be that, it might be that eventually you do a business, but you work for a while to put yourself on a level where you're able to now save up money and do a business. Sometimes you just consider the fact that, this opportunity is available now, let me give it a try, let me give it a go, and then see how that goes. So, because I talked about persistent too. So sometimes, because at the end of the day, your life unfolds in stages, right? You want to get a graduate job, like you have to be open to as many opportunities as possible. I'm not saying you should get stuck in a career, but be open. Be open. And I tell you the reason why I'm emphasizing this. I thought in my knowledge, like, I mean, I've done a bachelor's in mechanical engineering. I've done a graduate, an MSc in mechanical engineering. The most logical thing was for me to get a mechanical engineering job. It wasn't coming through. I tried and tried and tried. I wasn't getting it. But I would say that my internship at Procter and Gamble also kind of helped in terms of really understanding, is this really what I want to do? And then, how do you know skills of the future? How do you know the jobs that are in demand? You have to do your research. Go online and check all these target jobs. Check all this. What kind of jobs are they advertising more? Check on LinkedIn. There's something called LinkedIn jobs. What kind of roles are people looking for? Because I told you, there's so many jobs on LinkedIn at the moment. I see them all the time. Python developer, software developer, all of these things. I'm not suggesting that everyone should go into those fields, but by doing your research, look at the kind of jobs that come up a lot on all these job search engines. Check them. And I'll say that one way to really, really think about jobs of the future is the fact that, see, to be very honest, tech is the future. I'm not suggesting everyone moves into tech, but if you have an element of data science or all these tech skills in addition, because even when I look at mechanical engineering jobs right now, I still keep seeing the fact that they would mix it and say things like, oh, engineering data scientist or engineering something and or public health, mix some, because tech is the future. So anyway, how do you know what jobs are in demand? Do your research, check skills of the future, check jobs that will still be valuable in 20, 30 years. What are the jobs that will still be existing in 2050? Google this thing, spend time to do your research. Check on LinkedIn, what kind of jobs are in high demand? What kind of jobs are they looking for? Sometimes you just need to get your hands dirty to know if they're for you. Sometimes you also need to you also need to check people on YouTube as well. So another thing I do, because I take these things quite seriously. If I want to know about a company, I also check their culture. I check what they do online. Sometimes I go to their YouTube channel, check what these companies do. Or I can speak to people, like I said earlier, people that are working in these companies, tell them to tell you their experience. You can reach out to people on LinkedIn if you don't have anyone in your immediate network that are doing these jobs. So talk to people that are working in Rolls Royce. If you're interested in going there, ask them about their experience. People like to talk about themselves. People like to talk about what they're doing. Engage people, engage them. So that's a way to find out what you're interested in and what you're not. But make sure that you're not making a decision from a standpoint of laziness or not wanting to push yourself out of your comfort zone. There is a time where you might need to just do what is acceptable right now in order to get what you want eventually. People do it all the time. You do a 9 to 5 for a period of 5 years. You're interested in business, but you're just doing the job so you can learn some skills. And then after a while, you move on to a business. So I don't know. There was another question you asked. I don't know if I've touched on it, but please Olaolu, can you
Oh,
just check?
yeah, yeah, no, that's fine. I think the only other thing was about those who are working now, what skills, those critical learning aptitude, um, time management, the rest of it. But I think that's fine because of time. I'll just throw it up to the audience. If anyone has any particular question, I'll just encourage people to raise their hands on the group, on the chat. Just raise your hand, and I'll scan through. If anybody has any questions on whatever, anything at all relating to career and employability, please take the opportunity to fire on.
And I also want to add something regarding those soft skills. Now, if you're preparing yourself to get a job in a field that you didn't study, you can do some courses related to it ahead of time. Don't just say, "Oh, just my soft skills are sufficient." Demonstrate that you're passionate about going into that field. So you can take courses on Udemy. You can check EDX. You can check Coursera. If you say, for example, you want to become a developer, start taking the basic courses, start getting your hands dirty, demonstrate to the employer that, oh, although I don't have the skills, but I'm still learning. I have my certificates of completion on Coursera. You know, talk about these things on LinkedIn. Let them see the passion, let them see the energy in addition to your soft skills.
Thanks very much for that. So it was at Coursera. I don't think I've heard Udemy and UDX.
Yeah, there's Coursera as well.
So how do you spell that? So,
Coursera. I just sent it to you.
oh, course. All right. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I've got that.
Coursera.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks very much. I'll just see if there's um any questions. Does anybody have any questions? Please just actually go ahead. If you have any questions, just take the mic, unmute yourself, and just fire on.
Ooh, no questions.
There's one question.
Okay.
There's one question. So, how do you, for someone who has graduated and you haven't gotten a job in the field you graduated, obviously you're caught up in between the mix because you're not a fresh graduate. So, the graduate roles, you already know that whoever is interviewing will be looking at you to say, "Oh, your degree is obsolete." You know, 1 year, 2 years, someone who has graduated and hasn't gotten a job in that field will be looked at as obsolete. And then for somebody else that has, so how do you, what do you say to someone in that position? So you've graduated, you a couple of years down the line, but you still want to do something in that field, without going back to school, because the ideal thing would be go back to school, get a fresh degree. So what do you say to someone in that position? Yeah.
Okay, if I understand the question clearly, so you've studied a particular degree, you have a job in another degree, you have a job in something else, and you're trying to get another kind of job.
And you're trying to get a
Yeah,
job
yeah.
in the degree you studied, okay? But
Okay, okay,
obviously,
okay.
your years you've gone past because a couple of years have gone past since you graduated. So
Okay,
you're not a fresh graduate, and then you're not expert enough to say you're an expert. So what do you do in that case?
that's a very good question. I mean, again, think about it very well if you really want to go back to that field. There was a reason why one didn't consider a career opportunity in that. And another thing I must say, particularly in the UK, I have noticed in the workplace, like, and with the way the world is going, people are not really so 100% fixated on degrees upon degrees upon degrees, MSc in this. These things are good, but I'm just saying that your hands-on skills is a lot more important than I have a degree in this, you can have a degree in something and not be able to do the job. I would say that if you're still very passionate about that field, you can consider taking maybe a part-time job somewhere that can help you to still continue to enhance that skills without necessarily doing a degree. I would personally prioritize hands-on, hands-on beyond academic degrees upon academic, like 6 master's degree. Like for me, you can do a master's, you can do a PhD, those things are amazing, but you don't have to keep doing degrees upon degrees to prove yourself in the workplace. That's my own understanding, and from what I've seen in the UK, your hands-on experience is very important. So you might consider something like taking up a volunteer role in that field while you do your job, if you're really keen to go back to that field, that gives you hands-on experience. It gives you some kind of leverage to come back very easily. If it's a volunteer job, it's a volunteer role, you're not under pressure to necessarily, they're not paying you. It's not like you won't do your job well, but you're really there to learn. And if it's a degree that you can do online courses on, please help yourself. Go to Udemy, go to LinkedIn Learning that people are saying. Train yourself again based on those things. Get practical about that work. I wouldn't say that you should go and get a degree on it. I would rather say try to get practical knowledge on that can be sellable, that you can sell. If it's a course on Udemy and it's practical enough, you've done it, you can talk about the field. If it's working with somebody on something like that, you can talk about, you can basically say that you've done a job, you've continued to learn on the job, while doing a volunteer role, and you're being employed in another field. That's a good way I feel you can transition back into an initial field.
All right. Well, thanks so much for that answer. Just going to see if we've got any questions. But a follow-on question from that was just that if, say, for example, someone focused all his or attention on studying and graduating, like no time to apply, no time to look in LinkedIn, because I've got to pass, I'm learning, I'm going to the library, and then I graduate. Now that I've graduated, I've got my my certificates, I'm grateful to God. But as you mentioned, in that year in which I graduated, those that were offering graduate roles, they've started considering since the previous September. And so those roles are now filled up. So I'm having to start applying for the vacancies who are open for the next September, right? Now I'm competing with people who are perhaps about to enter their final year. Okay, now I'm in a position where, if I don't even enter, find a role that year, I don't have any experience, but I'm still looking for a graduate role. Do you think that such a person will be disadvantaged in applying for a graduate role? Do you think person should just look somewhere else or try and get experience somewhere else? And perhaps, because I think those graduate roles are structured and give you an edge. And so, if you missed the boat completely, basically, if you missed that window, have you completely missed it?
Okay.
Yeah,
no, sorry, carry on. I thought I understood.
yeah, so that's it. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, good question. I would say that yes, if you haven't done all that proactivity and all of that, it still doesn't matter. You can always start. One thing I would say is when you're looking for a job, keep moving. Don't don't like don't get tired. Don't play around. Like I don't know how to put it, but make sure you keep moving. Either you're developing new skills, or you're improving your skills, or you're learning a bit more about job applications and all of these things. Keep moving, keep advancing in the direction of what you want. These questions are very dicey. If I understand very clearly, I mean, from what I experienced, having done just the master's in the UK, I even had limited time. So I don't really know if there is even that room for, you haven't started already. I basically just had 4 months after I graduated to either get a job or go back to Nigeria because I needed visa sponsorship. So I would say that no, hope is never lost. Like, even if you're starting at the end of the day, yes, you didn't start at the beginning, but don't give up. You can still maximize the remaining time you had left. And let me also share my experience. Like I said, I had started applying all along. Luckily, to the glory of God, I got an internship. I got my internship that was supposed to start in September. I got in March. I got to 6 months after I came into the UK. Again, because of all this applying and all of that. However, I put myself in a difficult situation because the internship was just for 4 months. And the internship was from September till January. And what I wanted was a graduate job. I was hoping that if I do the internship, they'll retain me at the job. But when I go into the company, I realized that these guys, they don't have a vacancy. So there was no way they were going to sponsor my visa. So I was like, oh my God, maybe I should have focused on applying for graduate jobs. Why have I put myself in a difficult situation where my visa expires in February? I'm literally finishing my internship in January. Like, I just have 1 month window to apply for a job if I wait till the end. Like, I was working on a very, very tight schedule. But the good thing is, immediately I realized that I was in a difficult situation, I did not give up. And that's why I would encourage you. Continue doing your research, continue applying. I wanted to talk about cover letter. Cover letter is also something that is very important in the UK. your CV, your LinkedIn profile, your cover letter, those three things work together. Your cover letter needs to be adapted for every job. You can have your basic guideline, but when you want to apply for a specific role, it's good for you to research the company and then make sure that you tailor your cover letter to show that you can do that job, all their core values, check company core values, all their core values are your personal core values too as well, things like that. Now, I had a very little time, but God still came through. God still came through for me because I was working on a very tight, and it's just to encourage anyone here that don't give up, don't feel like I was literally working on a very tight schedule. I literally, my eyes opened like November, October, that man, if I continue this internship, I'm going to be in a difficult situation. I don't have a graduate job. Even as much as I'm saying generally, most graduate jobs start in September. Some companies don't have a September start date. That's why you need to keep checking. A company like Accenture, for example, they have flexible starts. So be aware that there are companies that have flexible starts as well. And all these things go from your research, interacting with people, learning, having conversations like this, talking to professionals. So one of my friends, luckily, again, networking, I actually had a friend that works in Accenture, and she was able to guide me on the fact that, Accenture can take it anytime. Why not apply to Accenture? Why are you so keen on mechanical engineering job? And then, I was able to learn a lot from her. I mean, about Accenture particularly. She had gone through the interview and passed and all of that. So I worked on a tight schedule, but God still came through. So I started applying very actively, like around October, November. But bear in mind, I'd already been learning a lot about CV, job interviews, how to present yourself, how to be confident, your body language from my University Careers Network. So even when last minute I applied to Accenture and they said, oh, we are going to consider you for this role, I had 4 days to prepare, but I've been preparing over the years anyway. So even if you've not been doing that, that's what I'm saying, that make sure that even while you're waiting for the next thing to happen, keep learning about your CV, perfect those skills, watch YouTube videos about how to conduct yourself in an interview, your body language, how to speak, have firm handshakes, all of those things, they're all over YouTube. Tons and tons of videos and resources on YouTube that you can use to learn these things. And of course, interacting with people. So I had 4 days to prepare because like I said, my visa was going to expire. I went for the interview. The particular job, tech job, graduate job that I got, I didn't know a lot about it. I spent the 4 nights basically just reading the entire Accenture website, reading everything, trying to get as much information as possible into my head, and I went for the interactive session. I went for the interview. God really favored me, but again, I was prepared. But God favored me. God came through. Every time we as Christians have to do things, you have to understand that it's two-sided. There is your own parts and there is what God can do. There are some things that you cannot influence. Only God can do with favor and all of those things. But your own parts, studying diligently and all of that, make sure you do it to the best of your ability. So don't feel discouraged. And here I am today. I eventually got the job. I got the job in January. They processed my visa. They had to do priority visa because if I didn't get a visa, I was going to go back to Nigeria. So they were very fast on it. And I needed to also get married. I told them, I already have my wedding date and all of that. Can you guys just help me process this visa on time? And they did it. So that was God's favor. So that answers the question. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it does very much so. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Anybody with any question? I'm actually surprised that the place is not buzzing with questions. I'm thinking, this is an opportunity for I'm sure we must have one question. Come on. I hope no one is shy here. Please just feel
Please
free.
don't be shy. Please don't be shy. Honestly, I'm here to answer your questions. If you have any. But also no pressure to talk if you don't have any questions. You can always connect to me on LinkedIn anyway, if you want us to discuss further. But
so what do you advise? If you had someone that wanted to go from academia to industry, or you had someone that wanted to go from the industry back into academia, what do you advise? Because it's usually a big deal, because the guys in the industry are always seeing this person, we have the experience, you don't know what you're talking of, you only talk from the books. The guys, and then when you're switching from industry to the academia, the guys in the academia are saying, okay, you've been working in experience, you don't have the theoretical knowledge, we have it, So in terms of that switch, how easy is that? Oh.
Can I ask what field you might be talking about? Just out of curiosity.
Sorry?
As in, what field of study are you kind of referring to for this question? Or just generally? As in, what field? Is this engineering or medicine or, you know?
I think you meant generally. So maybe
What
it's,
was
yeah, generally from academia to
that?
industry.
Okay, generally. Okay, general. Okay, thanks for clarifying that. Again, it's actually, yeah, it is dicey. And, sometimes it's difficult to answer these questions. I have most of my friends, and it's also very important. I talked a lot about opportunities as well. Sometimes you really do take opportunities and, just keep your long-term goals in view. I know sometimes we take PhD opportunities, not because we want to do research, but you're hoping that maybe, you get a job after a while. I want you to know that you can actually experience the best of both worlds. I have friends that we did our masters together. They're currently doing their PhD, focusing on PhD alone, and afterwards they're planning to get a job. I know some friends that are planning to go into academia immediately after their PhD. That's what they're passionate about. That's what they feel they can do. I have some friends that did PhD for just 1 year and they got a job. I hope you guys are aware that you can switch from tier 4 visa, student visa, to a tier 2 work visa after 1 year of doing PhD. So that way you can turn your PhD to a part-time job and you continue and you do like your 9 to 5 as a full-time job. I have a good number of friends that are doing this, doing their PhD. They spread it over 5 years instead of 3 years, and they're doing their 9 to 5. They have the best of both worlds. So there's that part of considering opportunities that are available. So I wouldn't say do this, do that. I wouldn't lie to you. If you have a PhD grant, you have a professor that is ready to sponsor your PhD, this thing that we call passion, sometimes you have to really check it. You have a lecturer that is ready to sponsor your PhD. You've done your very best to get a job. You didn't get the job. Which you wouldn't reject the PhD offer. If you're really keen to stay back in the UK, you wouldn't necessarily reject the PhD offer and say that, oh, I'm going to go back to Nigeria because, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. You can take the PhD offer and continue looking for a job. After a year of doing PhD, you can switch into the industry. It matters the kind of person you are. It indeed matters what you're passionate about, but I believe that you can develop passion for anything. So I wouldn't just say, oh, up front, you should just say you're not passionate about something, especially when you haven't tried it. I know how I was about tech. I'm like the last person to talk about being in tech. And now look at me, I'm enjoying my time in tech. I thought I couldn't do it. So anyway, it's very hard to say, oh, move from here to here. There's so many factors that come into play, but just know that you can actually experience both. You can experience both industry and academic, and stay with what you're comfortable with. Don't let anyone oppress you again. Don't let anyone oppress you. I have friends that are strictly academia. Don't let anyone oppress you and say that, oh, you guys are theoretical. You can make your own academia practical. There's so many videos, there's so many courses you can take to really understand the practical applications of all the things you're doing in academia. If you love academia, that's where you found opportunities. Stay there, but still make sure you try to find expression while you're there.
Okay, thank you, Gbemisola, for all you said. My question is, I did my undergraduate in Nigeria, University of Portsmouth, veterinary medicine, and usually in that setting, we do not have a lot of experience. We just have maybe internships, 3 months, 4 months. So how did you navigate that field in terms of experience? Because most jobs require at least, say, a year, 2 years experience in that field.
Graduate jobs?
Yes, I've seen some that have said they needed about a year, 2 years experience.
Okay. You schooled in UI. I didn't know that. What course did you study? Sorry if I may ask.
Medicine, veterinary medicine.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And now I'm making a switch into public health.
Okay.
So, yes. And any advice you have making that transition? Because I know you did mechanical engineering and now you've switched to technology.
Okay, interesting. For me, I think I need to stop saying I switched that because engineering is they're still kind of similar anyway, but well, maybe just going more into the technical side of things. Okay, now experience. A way to get experience, like I said, can be in the UK volunteering. I personally, maybe I was lucky in engineering. I can't really, I'm pretty sure that it's not every graduate job. That's why it's called graduate roles. Like, if a graduate job is requiring so much high level experience, then that's already becoming an experience hire. It shouldn't be that, I don't expect, of course, I won't say, yes, like you said, you've seen some jobs like that, but there are also some companies that wouldn't necessarily require that amount of years of experience. So for me, I didn't really come across a lot of companies that required that volume of experience. However, what I did was to just package all the bits and pieces of what we did in Nigeria. I put them nicely on my CV. So I had done, luckily in engineering in UI, we do 3 internships. In 200 level, you do an internship. For me, I did it in a mechanic workshop in Ibadan, and then the second one in 300 level, third year for people in Nigeria. I mean, engineering, some courses are more than 3 years. So engineering in Nigeria was 5 years for me. So in my third year, I'd done an internship. In my second year, I'd done a 2-month internship or 1-month internship. In third year, I'd done a 3-month internship, and then in my fourth year, I did a 6-month internship. So I just put the bits and pieces everywhere. Even NYSC, that's an experience. I don't know if you've done NYSC. You don't need to put NYSC there. Just put what you did, even if it was teaching or something. Those are experiences. By the time you put all those bits and pieces, internship, I mean, NYSC is a whole year. Even though I did teaching, I still put it there. That's some experience. And to present my teaching, you bring out the skills. I said, that's leadership, being a maths teacher. I was a maths teacher, and I talked about leadership, talking about having to adapt different learning styles for different students, communicating, encouraging them. You can actually go online and put the things that you've done and say, what are the soft skills that you get from being a maths teacher? It's online. It's like, you guys, you don't understand the power of the internet. Like, I'm telling you, there's so many. I did that. What are the skills that you gain being a maths teacher? And I saw, creativity, all this beautiful stuff, critical thinking. So whatever it is that you've done, put it together. Highlight the skills and see how you can make it relevant for the job. So they want me for a tech job, and I have engineering and teaching background. How can I make it relevant? You read all those job descriptions, read the role descriptions. What exactly do they want? Luckily, Accenture is a company where they're keen to, hire you without, even if that's not your degree, even if that's not what you studied. But they're also looking for some key things. They want to see how you've been able to handle challenges. They want to see how you've been able to learn on the job. Being a teacher, first teacher in quotes, because I did NYSC and they forced all of us to be teachers. I didn't study education, but I became a teacher. So that's a demonstration of the fact that you've learned a skill on the job. Even if it's a volunteer role and you're doing customer service in Tesco, you can say that, you didn't do, people actually go to school to study these things, but they just put you on the job and you learned it. That's a demonstration of you learning on the job, learning from failures. These are things that you highlight. You have to bring out the juice, if I can put it that way, from your experiences and see what they're looking for and see how you can match those things together. These things is about trading value. You come to a company, they want to know, what can you offer us? You're not just there to go and collect their money. They want you to show them that you have value that you can bring to them. And that value is demonstrated from your previous behaviors. So show them about the times that you led a group in UK in even extracurricular. Everything counts, especially if you don't have a full-blown job experience. Don't feel like you don't have anything. I feel like if you search, even if it's associations in UI, in UI I was in IVCU. I put things that I did in IVCU. I was the final year coordinator. I managed the budget of blah, 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 blah. These things are skills that you're gaining. You might think it's trivial, but I tell you, that's another struggle I had, particularly because I did my undergrad in Nigeria. See, there's a lot of selling yourself. Don't think any experience is too small. Even if you manage your parents' business, that is an experience. I tell you, I have friends, they just manage their parents' business. They understood how the sales was working. Put it there. And these things, there's a lot of packaging involved. You actually have those skills. You have those skills, but you need to bring it out. Let the recruiter see it. Whatever it is that you've done outside of academics, it is even within academics, even if you did not even do anything apart from academics, even within academics, you can still say when you led a team, even if you did not lead a team, being part of a team, you have a good team playing spirits. You can work with people from different backgrounds. You can, so I feel like even what you're doing here, all that communication you had with me, bringing, talking to me on Instagram, this program alone can form a very solid line in your CV. I tell you, this is how you gather things. This is how you gather. Look at here now, you have people from diverse, you don't need to put a number. I organized the program from diverse cultures and all of that. They learned about how to build their skills and all, and everybody gave good feedback. That can form a line on your CV, work experience. I don't know how long this fellowship has been standing for. Put it there. You've been there. You've been the secretary of this fellowship for I was active in NCCF. I don't know if you know NCCF. Everything. Gather all the bits and pieces together and bring out the juice. If you're not very sure, go online. If I work as an administrator in a company, what are the skills that I've learned? Google these things. Google, as a general secretary, what are the skills that I've learned? Google those things, bring them out. So I'll say that gather everything together, put it on your CV. Sometimes they just put all these requirements, 1-2 years experience. Don't be oppressed by all those things that they put there. People that have just half of the qualifications are applying. You that you have 70 or 80%, you're like, hey, I don't have 100%. You don't need to have 100%. Apply. That's what I was saying.
That's great. Thank you so much for that. Gbemisola, thank you very much for that.
Hi, sir. I just wanted to ask quickly. I know people talk a lot about staying in a job for, say, less than 2-3 years, because they say that recruiters also look out for how long you've been on a job, because they don't like the inconsistency. So you stay at a job for, say, 1 year, you start another job 1 year. And I think it's very prevalent, among our own generation, because before people stay in jobs for up to 20-30 years. So what do you really think? I mean, you wouldn't stay at a job just because you want to stay there for a number of years, but at the same time, do you have any advice in terms of staying on a job to ensure that you don't look like an inconsistent person?
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a very, very brilliant question. Yeah, honestly, and that's what I say about. See, our mindset is very important. Don't have a mindset of, I don't know how to explain it, but don't have a proper mindset and attitude towards work. And I'm emphasizing this so much because coming from Nigeria, I had a very bad, for me, just get a good degree and get a job and let them pay you salary, even if you're not doing anything. I was just, that kind of entitlement mindset, because I grew up in Nigeria, sorry, no offense, but, there's some mindset people from Nigeria that when you come to the UK, you just have to delete that mindset from your mind so that you can focus properly. So I had this kind of mindset of, just make money, and I'll just be enjoying yourself. In fact, we used to joke in uni that you just study in uni and then you enter the world where you make money and you don't have to study again. All those things is lies. Now these days you have to continue to study, continue to prove yourself. So have the right attitude towards work. Now, in every job there would always be challenging situations. When you're going into a company, have your plans. What do you want to learn in this company? I also don't believe in jumping around. It doesn't look good, because at the end of the day, most times people leave jobs because you don't like your boss. Your boss is giving you a difficult time. What's wrong with that? And then you go to another company. I'm not saying that maltreatment. And in the UK, the good thing is they have very good policies about this racism and all of this. If you're experiencing it, please speak out. If it's becoming unbearable, of course you can leave a job. That's a terrible case to say you're leaving a job. But just leaving a job because, the workload is too much, or, they're stressing you, your line manager doesn't like you, and that's the reason why you're leaving a job. I don't think that's tangible enough. Work life would always be, just with anything in life, there would always be challenges. If you know that you want to be in the workplace, you have to understand every company has politics. Every company has, it's normal. You're not the only person. So I don't believe in jumping from one job to another because you feel like, there's politics and all of that. As children of God, like I said, my favorite scripture is that I can do all things, because every trial, every bad situation that you face at work is, as a child of God, see it as an opportunity to develop something in you. Your mindset and your attitude is very important. See it as the Bible says that count it all joy when you pass through diverse temptations. These things work out things in you. They make you tougher. They make you stronger. You can have a boss that, is willing to. 2 years is a very good time, because you would have stayed, you will have learned whatever you want to learn on the job and all of that. But again, I won't prescribe that. I won't say that, this is the standard. It really depends. And let's not forget, our parents' days were different, Job life was quite consistent. I mean, you can just be a secretary for 20 years, amazing. But the world is changing. So a company might say that they don't require this skill again. They want something else. So they might lay people off, or you might just discover that it's not the right thing for you again. But my own is, don't leave based on, some people should not be jumping companies based on excuses that you can't avoid. Politics, or the politics is a lot and all of that. Politics is everywhere. So all of these things you can always. So my own is, there would always be challenges at work, but focus on what you're trying to get from that job. Have a plan for every company you work for. I mean, I'm still in Accenture. I haven't left. I'm still there, but of course, you'd always be on the lookout for opportunities. The idea, and again, another thing they say about, for us, I guess this audience is really a lot of Africans and all of that. People always advise things like, okay, moving around different companies. But again, after 2-3 years, and the reason for that is this. I'm just being very honest with you. I've heard it in several places. Now, because of the fact that, it's easier for you to climb if you're moving around. That's what people say. Because there's a lot of social paths to work. So most times you stay in the company for many years. You don't really have the right networks. You don't do pub. You're not into all this white life banter. You're not able to, just be in a certain way, even though you're good at your job. The things that constitute getting promoted at jobs really, really matter. It's holistic rather than just doing your job, which is sometimes the case in other countries. In the UK, they're looking at your networking skills. They're looking at you organizing extracurricular events. They're looking at so many things. Coming to the bar, they don't tell you these things directly, but it's very important. I am someone that doesn't necessarily go to the bar and all of these things, but I've pushed myself beyond my comfort zone to go there. I don't drink, but when I go there, I just have like a mocktail or something just to socialize. They want all those things. So sometimes Black people struggle to get promoted within a company, staying there for a long time. So people advise move around, because once you stay in a company for 2 years and you go to another company, you're able to get a higher job or a higher role. It happens if you're very good. So I would say that I don't know if I've answered the question, but don't be someone that just jumps around randomly. Make sure that before you leave a company, you have tangible skills that you can say that you've gained from that job. You have tangible skills. You've learned from mistakes. You've learned from errors. You've learned from challenges. Challenges push us. They stretch us. Don't run away from it. I told you about all the rejections and everything. I've had really hard times. At what times I've had to cry because I just don't understand what I'm doing again. But those things have made me better. Those things are the things that have helped me to say, okay, now I can do this job. I can be a senior DevOps engineer somewhere else because I've learned from the job. So yes, that's what I'll say. Okay, thanks for confirming that. Yes, okay.
Thank you so much, Gbemisola, for answering the questions. We really appreciate you, and thank you very much for those who asked questions. And I hope it's also been helpful and valuable to everybody. Thank you so much, Gbemisola.
Thank you for having me. I really did have a great time. And I also want to say, please do connect with me on LinkedIn. My name is Gbemisola, and you can follow at the Ops Network on all social media handles just to see more about what we do and how, you can benefit from it. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.